Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Tim Braden, Second Legacy. Thank you so much for showing up. Guys, we have got to talk about this assassination that went down in New York because apparently it's a complete anomaly. All the gun laws that were in place, it's fine. This would never happen. This is almost equivalent to if a comet were to come out of the sky and strike somebody in the head. It's that rare because the gun laws are that effective. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. And even the gun controllers are like, ooh. Let's not talk about that one and start to obfuscate that a little bit. We're going to break it all down right now. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on. Tim, this was a thing, man. Like, this was aggressive. This assassination of the CEO in New York was like, wow, that's brazen.
You know, and the commentary online has been interesting. I'm sure we'll delve into that in today's video.
Oh, yeah.
But what's kind of odd about all of it, you know, in today's society, we have cameras everywhere. Everybody has them in their pockets. Yes. They're attached to every single building. Tesla's cars have them recording in a 360 around the car as a security measure. So if something like this happens, if there's a Tesla parked nearby, the cops can go to the Tesla and recover the. I mean, it's just insane that we have cameras everywhere. And so that's how we capture this footage. But once again, it's grainy and very hard to see what's actually happening. You know, with 4K and even 8K cameras out there now, it seems like, well, darn, it always seems like the footage that we do get is like from 1990 era.
It's like Aliens. It's like all the UFO footage is always real blurry. Like someone holding it like this. Right.
So because of the grainy nature of the video, you know, a lot of speculation has been floating around online. You know, first reports I saw of it, you know, professional hit. And then, you know, I watched the video and I go, if that's a professional, they've lowered the bar quite a bit.
Stop. I knew you were going to say that. Keep going. Man, Assassins back in my day. Archduke Ferdinand.
Dude,
took some balls.
Dude, I did a whole video on the BNT VP9/Station 6 came up in the discussions online. I did a whole video on that handgun. And in the beginning of the video, I actually staged like a comedic like hit with it. Yeah. And I had it in my jacket and I just walk by and silently shoot a target, just keep walking by like nothing happened.
Yeah.
And that's how I opened the video, kind of as a joke, right? And and so that was be what your typical assassination might look like in Hollywood. What we saw in this video was just a little bit different.
Turns out it's a little clunkier.
Planned, yes. Professional, I have my doubts. But anyway, but the media commentary, the online expert commentary has all been quite interesting. But what I don't really hear people, and I have seen a little discussion around, but not a whole bunch. It's like, why him? What happened here? I mean, this guy laid in wait. They knew he was across the street for a while. Why did they target this particular CEO? It was a targeted hit. So that's why I find interesting.
Absolutely. And you know, it's sad, and you have to say this part is obviously implied, but just for any critics who might be watching, of course, this is a tragedy. We don't want this to happen to anybody, but since it did happen in a gun control zone, we're going to point that out.
Yes.
Anyway, just saying. So so there's so many details that are coming through around this. Like the interesting part is the CEOs in America, especially the high power ones, aren't used to getting a lot, like any type of impact on them at all. So waves are made when this kind of thing happens. But anyway, the interesting thing, Tim, as we go into this, I just want to bring something up. Did you see the gun controllers, like Everytown for Gun Safety, and all their quotes and their statements on it?
No.
Oh, you should. Let's explore that a little bit, because something might be missing. You're going to be shocked when you find out what's missing. Brian Thompson, this is from Everytown, CEO of United Healthcare, was tragically shot and killed this morning outside of a hotel he was staying at in New York City in what police believe was a targeted attack. Thompson was a father of two. Senseless gun violence is tearing families apart. Our hearts are with loved ones. He should still be alive. He should still be alive. It does suck. I don't want the kids to experience this. It shouldn't have happened. But really? Senseless gun violence is tearing families apart? This is a targeted hit, and it's quite obvious, particularly when I show you what was written on some cartridge casings left at the frickin' scene.
Yeah. So once again, and this is typical of the gun grabbers, right? They just want the news event. They just want the carnage so that they can blame an inanimate object. They don't want to talk about what I just mentioned. Like, why was this CEO targeted? Why was this guy, why did he feel brazen enough to walk out onto a busy street right in front of everybody and gun this person down and just casually stroll away, jump on a bike and disappear into Central Park? There's bigger questions here. And on top of that, every single thing he had in his possession at the time of the assassination was illegal in New York.
There it is. It's weird. I knew we'd eventually get there.
Yeah. Had to work our way towards it, I guess.
We had to kind of meander our way towards that. By the way, before we fully go into that, because we're about to have fun with that one, did you see all the reporting and the tracking of movements of the assassin? He went to Starbucks first, then he took a little, I'm like, God, it's obviously a millennial or a Gen Zer. I've got to get my latte before I, do this.
And if it was pumpkin spice,
oh God, I bet it was. I bet it is the season for it. It's twisted. But anyway, back to
stopped off for a McRib sandwich, got some pumpkin spice latte because it was his last meal potentially.
It's the last meal. You never know, man. You got to really go to the high levels there. The McFish wasn't it?
You got to get those specialty seasonal items.
Oh God, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. Maybe a cake donut, splurge a little bit.
Yeah.
So the big thing that really just gets my goat on this, man. Let's just go down the list of things that gun control was supposed to hit but didn't. All right. So let's see. This is a sensitive place. This is a concealed carry firearm, I'm presuming without a license. I mean, it's New York. You've got a suppressor, obviously murder. And anything else I'm missing that's really glaringly obvious? NFA item, which is the suppressor piece in New York.
Yeah.
What else am I missing there?
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything, aside from the fact that he was dressed like Antifa and had a very distinctive gray backpack that they're looking for. That was a news report I read that the police were saying, well, he's covered in black, black bloc, and but he has this very distinctive gray backpack. Not like he can ditch that or anything.
Which is attached to him, which you can't ditch.
Yeah, that's going into
his back.
Yeah. So if they're still out there looking for the guy in a gray backpack, they're going to be looking for this guy for a while because apparently, anyway. So
yeah, they're on it. But yeah, I think that's a lot of gun control. That's a lot of gun control, Tim. We
don't know the magazine capacity of the firearm because I think we only see like 4 rounds fired on video.
That's true.
So we don't know what the mag capacity is. There could have been a serious crime committed there too if he had over 10 rounds. So
good point.
Yeah.
And let's go over to Moms Made Action because maybe they hit something that Every Town for Gun Safety didn't. I mean, you never know. I mean, it could happen.
They tend to be a little bit more studious.
A little bit. Yes, definitely. That's the word. All right, so here we go. Mom's Made in Action. Brian Thompson, 50-year-old father of 2 and CEO of United Healthcare, was shot and killed this morning outside the Hilton Hotel in Manhattan. Police target attack. Similar, almost verbatim. The big thing that's interesting about this is Dr. Slides, if you slide down a little bit, their first first tweet on their own comment, right there. People in America should be able to go about their daily lives without the threat of being gunned down. I mean, this is not this is the thing that bothers me so bad about this, Tim. I know that you and I have different little pet peeves about this. They're couching this as run-of-the-mill, random, everyday gun violence in a complete gun control state, in a complete gun control city that has the most extreme gun control in the entire United States. And all of a sudden, it's the guns, it's the run-of-the-mill gun violence. It's not an obvious targeted hit of a CEO of an insurance company. And we're going to show you the evidence in a second more. That's
one of the largest in the world. Yeah.
Largest in the world. And it's nothing of that nature. He only sat there and waited for him, let everyone else go by. So it wasn't random, senseless gun violence. He had a target, approached the target, executed the target, and then fled very easily while drinking a latte. This is not random run-of-the-mill gun violence, you dolts.
No. But they got to paint it that way because, hey, we got to save the CEOs. Keep in mind, these are the same people that hate these CEOs, that think these CEOs are the absolute devil on the planet, that want to tax them by 100%. These evil people, one of them gets gunned down, and now they got to save all the CEOs because we got to get rid of the guns. I mean, the hypocrisy of these people.
It never ends.
I'm surprised. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Well, maybe as a big Democrat donor. I mean, who knows?
You never know.
You never know.
Well, so here's what the police are calling a presumed targeted attack. Okay,
presumed. Presumed. I'm not sure myself. I mean, I watched the video. It could have been a complete accident.
Completely random.
Yeah, he was walking past a pothole, just happened to be checking to make sure his pistol was loaded. Tripped, fell, fired 4 times. It happens.
Got it.
Yeah.
Especially on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So let's go over to the New York Post real quick, Dr. Slides. I just want to show the headline real quick because this is kind of an interesting add into this. Oh, look at that, Tim. There were messages on bullets fired by the assassin of the CEO. that linked to condemning the insurance companies. And the words that were written, and they weren't written on bullets; they were written on the
We'll
cartridge
talk about
casings.
that.
We'll talk about that in a second, but this is the media, as Tim has mentioned. If you scroll down, Dr. Slides, just underneath the image, the portrait of the CEO, there's a little. Yeah, keep going. There's a little right below that one. Oh, not the video. There we go, right there. So this is from a book that is all about attacking the insurance companies. And the subtitle is literally Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay Claims and What You Can Do About It. And the words that were found on the shell casings were delay, deny, defend. I don't know. Seems like senseless gun violence, Tim. Not connected at all.
Totally coincidental.
Random.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've seen stranger things happen. That's definitely no connection there.
Can you give me an example of a stranger thing than that happening? I mean, do you have one on top of your head, or is it just a turn of phrase you were just whipping out?
It's just a phrase I'm throwing out there, and I don't want to bring up the Assassinations sisters this early in the morning. So
no, and their hamster. No,
yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, habit trails, bad discussion on Thursday morning. So no, again, right, and so I kind of want to address this. So if you at the top of the article. And I see this not only in the media obviously are idiots when it comes to firearms. And so, they'll make reports that, and honestly, a lot of this information and stuff can be found with a simple Google search with actual research. There was a time when journalists actually went out and tried to learn the truth of a story and even learn the vernacular, learn about the topic that they're going to report on so they can report intelligently. Now they just make stuff up. And this is a classic example, and this is a minor infraction, but worth pointing out, as Braden said. Message found on bullets fired by United Healthcare. Let me show you what a fired bullet looks like typically after it hits something hard. Dr. Slides, here you go. So these are some recovered bullets from that have been fired from a 9mm handgun, is what they look like, and they've hit something hard, so like a bone or a wall or a street, concrete, asphalt, something. They deform. And of course, a bullet, when it travels down the barrel, is exposed to extreme friction, heat, carbon, things like that. So anything really written on a bullet might not be really legible after it's fired. I think what they're talking about is the cartridge case.
Yeah.
And so there's another picture from a tweet, just kind of give you guys an idea of why we're making fun of the media here. If you can fill this up, so this is a tweet that came out, and somebody was saying we need more answers regarding the the whole thing that took place with Trump and somebody taking a shot there, and it's apparently the finger of God guiding a entire rifle cartridge away from President Trump, and that type of stuff just makes me cringe. But this is the media, right? And this is somebody creating nice artwork, but simply doesn't understand how a firearm works. That is a cartridge. That is not a bullet. The bullet is in the cartridge. But there's other components: gunpowder, brass, primer. You get my drift. So I said fixed, and I fixed it. So I just took the case away.
Right.
And the case, folks, is where the message, delay, whatever, would have been written on, probably not the bullet. Not saying it wasn't, but it's more likely written on the case. But this is an example of where the media gets things wrong, and they'll misreport things. And so don't take everything they say too literally. But I've also seen this in the gun world, and it goes down to people calling a cartridge a caliber, like 6.5 Creedmoor. It's 6.5 caliber, but it's a 6.5 Creedmoor cartridge, right? So it's just simple things like that can be confusing when you're talking about something in the context of what they're trying to convey in this news article. He wrote something on the bullet. We're thinking he probably wrote something on the cartridge, and I believe there was a live cartridge unfired from him trying to clear, I think, apparent malfunctions that left a live round laying on the ground.
Yeah, you just actually hit something I was about to say, because I'm noticing further down in this article, Dr. Slides, you don't need to hit this. This is in the this is further down. But there's actually imagery, and I don't know if it's actually from the crime scene that they're talking about with this actual assassination, but there are complete unfired cartridges on the ground, and we did see the guy clear it after every single shot. It is completely possible that the writing was on these complete cartridges, not the bullets, the complete cartridges on the shell portion. And as he was clearing, because it jammed, he was basically spewing out bullets that had a writing on them. It may be unintentional that he left them there because it jammed.
Well, I will say, though, I've taken Sharpies for testing purposes in marked cases that I was trying to track and fired them. And the case will come out with most of the Sharpie, still on it, right? A lot of folks will do things like that for reloading purposes. Me, in my case, I was trying to track different cartridges so I could find the spent cases more quickly and document the differences between the cases, right? So, but I just
Right.
know that I've written on cartridge cases, and a lot of that writing had remained on the case itself. So it could be that is writing recovered from fired cases as well. Less likely from a fired bullet, not saying impossible, but less likely
Right.
because of the reasons we've given. So yeah, chances are definitely on the unfired cartridges, it'd be very clear and easy to read whatever he had written. You could probably get something through CSI type stuff off a fired case though too.
Yeah, I would agree. And so now wrapping this whole thing up, we're gonna go to the tweet from GOA, Dr. Slides. They put something out that was so simple and so like some of the most effective messaging on this planet is simplicity based. Like during the election, the most effective ad that Trump put out was the Democrats are for they, them, Trump is for you. It's so simple, it's so easy, and so easy to digest that message. GOA has gotten a few of those recently too. New York City has every single gun control imaginable. Name one additional gun law that would have stopped this determined killer and will wait.
Yeah. And
Extremely valid.
I've asked that of gun controllers after all these major shootings. Like they always go out there and scream, "We want more gun control." But on the other side of their mouth, they'll say, "But we don't want to take your guns away. We just want reasonable restrictions." Okay, right. Sweetie, what reasonable restriction would have stopped this?
Right.
Chances are that suppressor was homemade.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. I didn't have me pulled up. Let's talk about that for a second. This is interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm saying. It's like, just let's go to the suppressor thing because I do think that that's important because again, all these stupid laws and what the gun grabbers will say to GOA's response, because I've seen them say it, well, the gun was brought in from another state. We need to ban everything across all 50 states in the entire planet. And that'll stop this. They find guns in prison. How do they find guns in prison? Well, they make them in shop class. People, firearms aren't exactly complicated devices to manufacture. Suppressors are extremely easy devices to manufacture. It isn't like space age technology. This is technology humans have been playing with for hundreds of years. Okay. And so the fact that this guy had this type of stuff in New York City, regardless of what laws are in place, the problem isn't the gun, it's the criminal. Because that's like saying, well, if we just ban air, all criminals will die. So then we can fix it. Let's just ban air. Well, is that really practical? Let's just ban all guns. There's a famous story from over a decade ago in Australia where there's a jeweler was making look like perfect factory made Mac 10s being sold to outlaw motorcycle clubs. You remember that story? He was making perfect Mac 10s as a jeweler and selling them to outlaw motorcycle clubs for use in crimes in Australia. People, it is not hard to make a firearm. People blame 3D printers. You can take 3D printers away tomorrow. You can still make a firearm by running down to your local Ace Hardware store. It's not difficult. So these laws are stupid. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And wasn't Gaston Glock's first job, wasn't he a lantern maker?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't a gun manufacturer. Yeah.
No, he was a lantern maker.
He had some history in polymers. I think his first product was a knife or a bayonet with a polymer handle. Right. And then that evolved into the Glock, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. That's an ad hoc question. All right. So now here's the interesting, as we wrap this up, something was in the whole debate that's been raging online about which gun was used and what happened and was the gun law. Okay. Tim laid out three pretty good things. I'll let you kind of speak to it because you did bring up three pretty interesting possibilities. But the main thing that was so interesting to me about this is the gun consistently needed to be recocked or cleared or charged or whatever word you want to say. It had to have a manual function versus semi-automatic. So either... Well, why don't you go through the options? I think you worded them great.
Well, yeah. So I've seen a lot of expert opinions online about it and a lot of speculation, and I've seen everybody saying, well, it just had to be a 22. It was a 22, and this is from a video I saw. I think it was this morning where it was some former military guys talking about it, and I was thinking, well, it has to be a 22. Then I read the article that we just talked about in this video where there's writing on the cases. Well, if you're writing on 22 long rifle cases, you got some time on your hands. Yeah,
got the
super fine point Sharpie on that one. And then they had people out there saying things, and I even ran a poll on this one, and people saying it was a Station 6, which is a B&T firearm, originally called a VP9. They renamed it the Station 6, and it's a manually operated modern reproduction of a World War II era firearm called the Well Rod. And,
Right.
and so people are saying, well, it was a station 6. You can see him working it every single time. Well, no, what I saw was somebody pulling a malfunctioning weapon. The slide to the rear looked like the slide went back home under spring pressure. The VP9 Station 6 doesn't do that. And then I saw him tapping the back of it, trying to drive
Right.
the next cartridge into the chamber, which tells me
Right. Trying to
he was
seat it.
having
Right.
functional problems. Right. So, a lot of speculation about all that. What gun was used? Was it a manually operated gun? Was it a homemade gun? Was it a homemade suppressor, a purchase suppressor? A lot of questions, but again, the video is so grainy, it's very hard to tell. So I'm not going to bet on anything. I don't think it was a Station 6, very rare handgun. Not a lot of them were imported, just several hundred, if that. So it's not like they're out there. You can just run down to your local store and pick one up. Chances are it was either a homemade suppressor and firearm. I'm going with probably something just a run-of-the-mill threaded barrel, something they picked up at a gun shop, and then maybe a homemade can, or maybe even a purchased illegally or legally purchased can. Right. We don't know. But we also heard speculation that he was using subsonic rounds and that was inducing malfunctions. No, guys, that's not how it works. If you have a properly configured handgun with a suppressor that has a Nielsen device / booster in it, which this gun apparently did not, which is what I think the malfunctions were attributed to. If you don't have that device in the suppressor, it's not going to work with supers or subs. If it does have a Nielsen device in it and it's a properly functioning firearm of good quality, subsonics and supers are going to cycle just fine and not require manual operation. So a lot of speculation.
That's my thing. 100% speculation, and we're not going to know. But the big thing that I kind of align with you the most in that is very simple. To me, what it looked like, the gun did not have enough blowback from the cartridges that were being expended to cycle the gun properly, so he was manually having to do it. That's what it looked like. Which is why
a Nielsen device exists.
Right.
And I don't want to go into the science of it, but very simply, it basically levitates the weight of the can on the end of the barrel, makes it weightless momentarily so the gun can cycle. When you hang a bunch of weight off the end of a Browning action type firearm, which apparently this was, that added weight to the barrel will keep the gun from cycling because it doesn't have enough energy. It wasn't designed to cycle with that extra weight hanging off the end of the barrel. So a Nielsen device just uses gas pressure to make the entire suppressor effectively weightless momentarily, allowing the gun to cycle. In the absence of that device, most guns, especially Browning actions, will have problems cycling.
Well, I mean, that would also explain why he's hitting the back of it to make it seat properly.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. We're never going to know, but it's interesting conjecture. But bottom line is gun controllers are dumb. That's the bottom line.
Yep, dumb, and the reporting is bad, and I imagine this will fall off fairly quickly. But I do want to find out what the firearm that was used in the crime, what it was, and all that stuff, because now I'm interested because of all the online speculation. So whether or not we do a follow-up video, we'll let you guys know. It depends on what we learn going down the road. But thank you for watching Second Legacy, and we'll talk to you guys soon.